Good afternoon, Algebra 2 students. I am here to show you the difference and sum of cubes. We are going to be factoring cubes. So, if we look at example 1 here, x to the third plus 8. This is the sum of two cubes. The first step we're going to do is rewrite our question, because eventually I'm going to cross something out. Now, we can take this perfect cube and split it into a binomial and a trinomial. I know this is super, super exciting. Try to control yourselves as you do this. Our first binomial is going to be the cube root of our first term plus the cube root of our second term. So it'll be x plus 2. 2 is the cube root of 8. So we split this into a binomial and we do that by taking the cube root of each term. Now, are you ready for the exciting part? Our trinomial. Now, I ignore my original expression and I only focus on my binomial. So, to form my trinomial, I am going to square my first term. So that would be here, my first term, and I square that. Oh, my kids left the marker top open, so the green doesn't really work. Let's see if this will work. So you're going to square. No, green does not work. We'll write it in black. Square the first term. Okay? Now, here's where it's a slightly tricky. Our second step is to use the opposite sign. So, since this is an addition question, we are going to make this subtraction. My third step is to get my middle term here, and that's the product of the two terms. Okay, so I'm going to take x and 2x and make that, x and 2, make that 2x. I'd like you to think for a second on how I'm going to get my third term of my trinomial. Remember, we do want to get back to an 8 as my constant. And I'm only focused on my binomial. If I take my second term of the binomial and I square it, I'm going to get 4. So you square the second term of the binomial. I know, this is extremely exciting. Try to contain yourself. That is nicely color-coded, besides the green, for you to reference to. Now, my question is, will this always work? Let's look at a hard one. 27 x cubed minus 343. Now, you may be asking yourself, 27, I know that's a perfect cube, so is x cubed, but what about 343? You can always check on your calculator, but you can also trust me right now. 343 is a perfect cube. So I'm going to rewrite 27x cubed minus 343, and I'm going to factor it now. I'm going to factor it into my binomial and my amazing trinomial, following the steps above. So the first thing I do is I take the cube root of each term. So the cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of x cubed is x. I keep that sign, and the cube root of 343 is 7. Okay, this is a little messy here, but this is a 3. Okay, now remember, we ignore the original for a minute, and we focus on this binomial to make my trinomial. First thing is square the first term. So I'm going to take 3x and I'm going to square it. And it's going to become 9x squared. I'm going to take the opposite sign. So since this was originally negative or subtraction, I'm going to make that a positive. I'm going to take the product of my two terms in my binomial, and that is going to give me 21x. And then my last step, I am going to square -7. Now remember, a negative times a negative is a positive, so my third term in my trinomial will always be positive. I hope you enjoyed my little video and all my lovely markers. I will see you in class tomorrow, and we will start with this. Have a great night. Enjoy!